What's up, guys? This is Bradley. You are listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast. This is Zach to my right, and this is Dawson on the right of your screen. Tonight, we are going to be reacting to the Ravens 31-2 victory over the Houston Texans on Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you guys had a good holiday and continue to have a good holiday season. This one, guys, was not a scoregami. The last time there was a 31-2 score, it was 1965. So I was thinking we might have a scoregami here, but we did not get one. Lamar Jackson in this one, guys, some people are saying has entered the MVP conversation. I think we might be saying became the front runner in the MVP conversation. RG3 said that. A couple other people have said that. Derrick Henry, 27 carries in this one, 147 yards and a touchdown. Texans score 0 points on offense. Last thing for me here before I kick to you guys. In the Ravens' 3 games since the bye, Giants, Steelers, Texans, they've outscored their opponents 100-33. So with that said, I will kick it to Zach first. And how was your holiday, and how do you feel about this victory today?
Great holiday, first off. Got this beanie here. I mean, always good to get some more Ravens merch. But shoot, it got a really Merry Christmas after that game. I mean, we'll get into the order of the game and all, but really second half after that Beyonce concert, woo, she killed that. After that, I mean, goodness gracious, Ravens once again hit the ground running, and I was like, this is over. It was such a great feeling to know it was over, and just realized that it was a very, very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man. It was a good holiday. I mean, it's always good, too, when the Ravens win. So you put 2 and 2 together, man, and it was a pretty good Christmas for us. I think we can all agree. I got some new Ravens merch as well, so that's always a bonus. I got this new edition right here you might see on the back wall. But, man, the Ravens played a great game today. It was kind of, I would say, probably the most complete game of the season so far, and maybe one of my faves. So it was a really good time to watch that, and I would probably agree with Brad. I think Lamar kind of really, really solidified himself into this MVP campaign as if, he hasn't already.
Yeah, for sure. And this was a game that had a lot of hype going into it, similar to the Chiefs-Steelers game earlier today, and both ended up being blowouts. As probably everyone who's watching this knows, the Chiefs beat the Steelers today, so now the Ravens have the division lead over the Steelers. It's kind of funny, Ravens and Steelers both had the 3-game in 11-day stretch. The Steelers went 0-3, and the Ravens went 3-0. So that's kind of the difference in the division right now. Comment from Bikini Bottom, Ardarius freaking Washington. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row where he makes a game-changing play. Again, right here. I mean, beautiful from him, but we're gonna start getting into the beginning of the game here to start it off. And Ravens got the ball first. Texans won the toss, deferred. Ravens go on an 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. Derrick Henry was really unstoppable from the start in this one. Lamar hit Zay Flowers for 27 yards over the middle, made a couple spin moves, got down to the 1 or the 2, and then Derrick Henry ran it in. Zach, what were your thoughts on the Ravens' first drive in this one?
Yeah, I remember from the preview, we talked about Derrick Henry against the Texans, and oh my gosh, it started exactly how he left off. It was 85 yards in the first quarter, but this was the real drive that you realized, oh crap, it's Derrick Henry's freaking day, and oh my gosh, it was awesome to see. Yeah, really unstoppable from the get-go. It was, it's such a good feeling to know when he's going. I think a whole weight is lifted off the entire team. Oh yeah, okay, so it's Derrick's day. We'll be fine.
Yeah, don't mind my camera too. I'm having technical difficulties with my camera, as is the usual, I guess, here. But dude, this kind of game going into this, Brad, you mentioned too, and Zach actually pulled the stat in our preview pod as far as Derrick Henry's numbers against the Texans and how good his track record is against them. And this game was exactly that. I mean, Derrick Henry was an absolute workhorse, dude, from the get. He had 86 yards on the ground on 10 carries in the first quarter. And I mean, dude, it was exactly that. It was a Derrick Henry game. He kind of led us to the promised land. And seeing this game now, really, obviously the Lamar Jackson performance was incredible. But when you look at his numbers, it wasn't that pretty. I mean, realistically, you wouldn't think of him making a huge impact on this game. But obviously, you know, that's a lie if you actually watch the game and see what he did. But, dude, it's so nice because this team feels like they're peaking at the right time. They're kind of getting really hot right now. They've come off this bye 3 in a row. Really big time wins too. And it feels like everything's kind of clicking at this very moment. And I still have yet to believe they played their best football. So that's kind of encouraging. But today they definitely put all the pieces together. It was a very clean game. All the units played very well. Coaching was good. And overall, just a dominant win. So I feel like we got to be very happy with where this team is trending, you know, only a couple weeks away from the playoffs.
Yeah, and after the Ravens got that 7-0 lead to start off the game, Texans had a punt after just picking up one first down. Kyle Van Noy got a sack to start the game, which was nice to see at 12 and a half now. Having the best year of his career, even better than last year. And then Ravens drive down the field. Tucker nails a 52-yard field goal. I believe it was right down the middle. Is he fully back, Dawson? Are you fully confident now in Justin Tucker?
Dude, it's hard to say because obviously given the season that he's had, it's really tough to kind of jump ship on Tucker, and he was kind of in a bad spot. But since coming off the bye, man, he has not missed yet. He has not missed a kick or a field goal or extra point. I think he's like, 13 for 13 or something like that. It's something awesome. And, dude, I might be leaning more so that he's back, dude. The trajectory of his kicks are significantly better. He's drilling them right down the middle, much like old Tucker, of course, vintage Tucker, you might say. And even when he was in his struggles, he was struggling even on the kicks that he was making, and they were like barely squeezing by. But now every kick, it seems like he's got his confidence back. The rhythm's there. It's clicking, and he's vintage Tucker now. So I'm not going to 100% say he's back yet to, you know, the Tuck that never misses, but it's definitely a lot better than it was, you know, pre-bye week because adjustments were definitely made.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like this was really the game where you're like, okay, if he makes this one, we're probably good. And it went right down the middle. Good kick from him. Close it out. So Ravens take the 10-0 lead. Texans go 3-and-out to close out that first quarter. And it was looking pretty good here. Kind of felt like a blowout in that first quarter. Then Ravens get the ball back. They punt. This is when the Texans started to defend the run. Henry, I think, lost 5 yards, and Keaton Mitchell lost 4 yards on 2 plays in a row. Ravens had to punt. But then the Texans also punted. But this is kind of where we thought the game might be flipping when Tommy Townsend, I think former Ravens punter at a time, former Ravens preseason punter at a time, pinned the Ravens down at the 3-yard line. And Ravens gave the ball to Derrick Henry up the middle. He thought he could bounce it outside. Kamari Lassiter, who we all talked about in this preview, great rookie corner, just made a great play. And, you know, probably could have avoided a safety if Derrick Henry just runs straight, but he thought he could get around him, make a nice play, and the corner made a better play on that one. Zach, how do you feel after that safety happened and it was 10-2 Ravens right there?
Yeah, like you never really see Derrick mess up that kind of play. And if you do, I mean, it happens and we tend to make up for it. But that kind of play was where Derrick Henry is known for making those big kind of plays, those long run plays whenever it's really backed up, getting the extra yards. And this was one of those situations. Lassiter blew up the play. And even sometimes Derrick is good enough to shed that block or shed that hit, but he can usually do that. But this time it was just not the case. I saw someone say, especially the Ravens radio announcers, radio broadcast, you guys might be familiar with their voices, but they were bashing really Derrick for that play. And sadly, it was fully on him. But, you know, it happens. I don't think it had a chance to change the entire game, but really what you were talking about, those punts leading up to it, Stroud was, I don't know if it was the pressure or if it was just lacking his targets or his guys they usually had, but I mean, he just seemed like he was in a puzzle. And I kind of wanted to talk about that before we got really into the safety because I was just confused. It was open receivers just not connecting with them at home. I just didn't understand that part. And really the fact that they got the safety after that, I was worried about a real momentum shift.
Yeah, it was kind of puzzling to see CJ Stroud struggling on such a high level. I mean, like Zach said, he was literally missing, I think he missed 3 wide open wide receivers like in a row, like on back-to-back plays. So that was definitely odd to see. That's very unlike him. I know he's had his struggles this season, but still we're talking a top 10 quarterback. Like CJ Stroud is a baller, and that is not something he usually does. So it was kind of odd to see that transpire. And then, of course, we're talking about this safety that all in end, that's a weird play. It's kind of one of those plays you just got to overlook. Like Zach said, it had a chance to kind of shift the momentum, which it did for a short period of time. But in the end, it didn't really have a heavy impact on the outcome of this game, of course. So it's not something we're going to look too much on. But I do agree that it's a play that 99 times out of 100 is probably not going to result the way it did. It's usually going to be a play where Derrick Henry just kind of muffles up for a couple yards and gets us out of that little pinch. But in the end, he tried to beat the corner to the outside, and it didn't work. And, of course, he fell backward for the safety, which sucks. And it's just kind of a funny joke, I guess you can look back on. But it is what it is. And really from there, the Texans got a little bit of momentum, but it was shut down pretty quick.
Yeah, like you said, Dawson, the Texans had a 56-yard drive. A PI call that frustrated me a lot. I know sometimes we joke about what's the play that had you the most frustrated or the most mad during a game. That play – because I get more frustrated at like a bad call than I do like a player or a coach or something like that. So I was very frustrated. I did not think that was PI at all. But Texans end up getting, I believe, a 1st and goal to 4, and they don't score. 4th and goal, Stroud, tosses it out the mix and in the flat. And listen, man, 5'8" Ardarius Washington for 2nd week in a row. I mean, Joe Mixon is a big, strong running back, and he stuffed him at like the 2-yard line with not a great angle either. I mean,
yeah,
that's an insane play.
And then not to mention that Ardarius had a big hit, of course, but there was a small chance that Mixon, if Tre'Davious White was not there, he could have still potentially snuck in. Obviously shout out to A.D. Washington because that dude's an absolute baller. At the same time, Tre'Davious White also made a big play too, kind of finishing it, not letting any hope of that, ball crossing the pylon. But that play, dude, that was so awesome. Like it was like the Russell Wilson last week. Like AD just hit sticking almost, dude. It was so incredible. And you can see the defense, dude, when plays like that are made, man. They just rally. They're so happy for one another. They just get so hyped. I think Zach Orr went flying over Darius Washington on the sideline when he rolled off, which is hilarious, but kind of scary. I know all of you saw that video. That was literally the funniest thing I've ever seen. So you can see how close these guys are. And when they make a play, man, especially a guy like Ardarius, who kind of just recently got brought up and really got his chance, and now he's flourishing in the spot. It's so fun to watch, dude.
Yeah, and then right after that, Ravens go 99 yards with a touchdown drive. It was really a 2-play drive, and it was Lamar and the tight ends. The first play looked like a sack. I mean, to us now, I think all Ravens fans are honestly in shock anytime Lamar gets sacked because we're never expecting him to. But he got out of that, and he had a lane and run. So I was like, someone's probably wide open if he's throwing this ball. And Andrews takes it 67 yards. Then the very next play, Lamar just toys with Daniil Hunter, running around in the backfield, pump fakes twice. He's just like standing around, and Daniil Hunter can't catch him. Top 10 pass rusher in the NFL. Hits likely in the end zone. I mean, this is where the MVP discourse on Twitter kind of started in this game when the Ravens went up 17-2, Zach.
Yeah, that Andrews play was just ridiculous. And you're completely right. That was the play that was like, oh, is he the MVP? To like the NFL, it's like, what? Guys, come on. But I'm pretty happy it happened. I mean, the likely play also was just ridiculous. That whole drive was just hilarious. It's pretty special what he's doing. I think OBJ tweeted, it's like seeing him in person is different than like anything else. But like, if you really sit down and watch a whole game, we do it all the time. It's different. But like, if it's the holidays and players, families, whoever, voters, whoever are sitting down and enjoying the holiday and watching football, you're watching a 31-2 blowout because of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I think it's a lot of good signs towards an MV3 conversation, but overall, that was such an amazing drive. 99 yards, especially after the safety. I mean, that's amazing to get the turnaround.
Dude, that drive was absolutely crazy. Both of those plays just doesn't even make sense. Like, that has got to be a defensive player, coach, staff member, anyone involved on the defensive side of the football. That is their nightmare. Like, that is completely unguardable. There's nothing you can do, no matter how good of a unit you are. There's no stopping that. Like, Lamar Jackson just makes it look easy, man. It's so unfair. I feel bad for defenders almost because there's nothing you can do. Like, the first play to Andrews was just out of this world, man. And like, no quarterback in the league is making that play except for Lamar Jackson, and maybe a couple other times, maybe another guy, but that's never going to happen. And then shout out to Andrews, man. Great catch, great run after the catch too. A little slower than I thought he was, but obviously it's still a big play nonetheless. And then the play to Likely, of course, we know that too. It's the same exact situation, dude. It's like you just can't stop him. Like, he rolls out and it just makes plays happen out of thin air. And it's one of those things that right now I think Lamar is realizing how good he's playing, because there was another clip after that play to Likely where he literally threw the ball in midair. He turned around and started celebrating already before the touchdown was even caught and celebrated, much like the Bengals, I think, Rashad Bateman when he jump ball. So there's a lot of swagger going on right now, man. This offense is clicking. They're like dialed in to the max, dude, and they are just running through teams. And we're talking about a really good Texans defense, and I know they have a few injuries and stuff that's really unfortunate to the unit, but overall this is a really good team that we went into their house, a division champion team, and really set the tone like early and often, and just didn't give them any life at all. Because, I mean, you look at the score, this is a shutout. It's one safety away from being a dominant shutout, and that's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and you saw Lamar actually apologize in a press conference to the defense. The safety wasn't even his fault, but he apologized that they don't technically get a shutout for that one. So that does kind of suck. It would have only been the second shutout of the year after the Packers did it just 2 days ago against the Saints. And then, both teams just punt. We go into the break. I will say, I think right before half, Keaton Mitchell had a nice 30-yard screenplay. So it's good to see him back. I really just think it was the fact of, like, he hasn't been able to practice, and they probably trusted Rasheen Ali a little bit more in the game situations. But good to see Keaton Mitchell get in there and look pretty good on some plays and also at the end of the game. But right at halftime, I mean, this is kind of the point where Texans are down 17-2. They can score a touchdown, get a 2-point, make it 17-10. But Kyle Hamilton with an amazing diving pick over the middle of the field on C.J. Stroud on the third play after halftime. And Ravens answer that with Lamar 48-yard touchdown run. Similar vibes to the Titans playoff run, just in terms of pure speed. It was the fastest speed Lamar's hit in his career. In year 7, guys, people talk about quarterbacks, slowing down their mobility. Like, people are, 2019, people were saying Lamar's not sustainable. And here we are in 2024. He's in year 7. He's running the fastest he's ever ran. And he's saying he's jogging in his post-game interview in the locker room. So
that's crazy, dude.
It's insane. And that puts up the Ravens 24-2. And it really felt like it was over there.
It's crazy, dude. Like, we're talking literally the greatest dual threat mobile quarterback of all time now. Like, I think we can all officially say that. I don't really think there's much argument otherwise, given that he literally, in 41 fewer games tonight, broke the record for all-time QB rushing yards, which is just absolutely surreal. I think he's in year 7, and Michael Vick played like 13 years. So no hate on Vick whatsoever, but it's just Lamar, man. He's truly different, and he's one of a kind, and we're so lucky to be able to watch him as our quarterback. But that play, when he broke off 48 yards, dude, I was looking down at my phone like the second that happened, and I just look up. I hear Greg Olsen yelling. It's just, he's trudging down the field, dude. And like the defender that was chasing him, dude, you just knew there was no shot. Like, it was just so far and away, dude, so much faster. And the fact that he comes out in postgame and says, I was jogging, is just crazy. It's just a true testament to how amazing and legendary he truly is. But really, from that point, Brad, too, I agree. That's kind of when I accepted that this game's probably over.
Yeah, I don't know how much I trust him that he was jogging. I'm not so sure about that, Lamar. But, I mean, think about how demoralizing that is. Interception, and Derrick Henry immediately gets the ball. Let's not forget that. Derrick Henry gets a quick first down, 13 yards. And then Lamar's like, yep, bye. Like, oh my gosh. Could you imagine? I mean, the like surge they were getting really towards the end of the half defensively, and then Stroud, just struggling this whole game, really struggling in all of his Ravens games. I think I read a stat that he's never scored a touchdown against the Ravens in 3 games.
Wow.
CJ Stroud. I'm freaking elite quarterback. And Ravens sure do have his number. I mean, before the game, we were talking pretty highly about, the Ravens own the Texans. The Texans fans were in their own comments on Twitter. Yeah, the Ravens own us. Like, it's kind of a thing. So, I mean, in Houston, there was not really any answers. And oh my gosh, sucked all life out of the building. That really filled it up even after the Beyonce concert. So, I mean, dude, golly, think about, oh my gosh, I just can't believe it. It was just a ridiculous back-to-back, really chain of events there.
Zach, I will say, it doesn't look like Lamar's running full speed. Like when you look at his gait,
that one felt like it was.
His knees are not really. I think maybe he hit like 90% speed for like 10 yards, and I think he knew he was going to score. Like, I don't think he ran as fast as he possibly could. I think he was jogging at the end, is kind of what he was saying. Once he knew that guy wasn't catching him, but
you're right. He definitely was at the end. He definitely was by the end of it.
Mark Andrews was running as fast as he could on the 67-yard catch, which I remember. What play was it? I think there was a play in 2019
against
Mark
Chargers.
Andrews.
Yeah,
no, there was a play where he didn't score in like 2019, and I remember Mark Andrews saying in the postgame interview, like, "Oh no, it was Lamar's first start against like the Bengals or the Raiders or whatever it was." And Andrews got caught at like the 4. I remember him saying in a post-game interview, that's the first time I've ever got caught from behind before. You think about like how great of an athlete someone is in like high school and college. And I kind of thought about that tonight as well. Just Andrews getting caught from behind. He was laughing after.
Andrews is going to watch back that play and be upset.
It's
going to bother him.
Yeah. I like this comment. It really does not seem like Lamar is ever tired during the game. I mean, it could be in overtime against the Vikings in 2021, he's laughing at the bottom of a pile. So, like, I really think he's chilling. Yeah, Gerardo said Ravens by 14. I think we all had the Ravens by about 7-ish.
I had him at 9.
9, yeah.
I had 30-21 as my score prediction.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out real quick. I just noticed a few minutes ago, former Raven cornerback Brandon Carr joined the live on Instagram. I don't know if he is still here, but shout out Brandon. We appreciate you.
Shout out Brandon Carr, man.
Love Brandon Carr.
Shout out for tuning in. If you're still here, if you're not, oh well. We appreciate that. So I want to shout
thanks for being here. That's awesome. So yeah.
Are you guys, Brad? You're muted.
Brad, you mute?
Thank you. After the 48-yard run, the Texans go 3 and out again, and Ravens just have another touchdown drive. This one ended with, kind of funny in the MVP conversation, Derrick Henry got tackled at the 1. Then the Ravens hit the play action, and Lamar hits Andrews for the passing touchdown, Lamar's 3rd touchdown of the game, and it was basically over from there. 4th quarter, not much happened. Josh Johnson was in with like 13 minutes left in this one. Ravens took it 31-2. So I do think it's kind of funny that Lamar ended up getting that 1-yard passing touchdown there. I mean, Josh Allen has 3 push touchdowns against the Rams. So
yeah, I would say he has like 12 rushing touchdowns, and I'm pretty sure like 9 of them are from the 1-yard line. So, and Lamar doesn't stat pad. Like, he literally declines options to go for a 6 touchdown. Josh Johnson comes in the game. I think he's played in 25% of our games this year. So there's no stat padding for Lamar. When he's out, he's done. So it's not like he's in there just getting garbage time touchdowns. Like, if he don't need to be in the game, he's not. So that's another thing you kind of got to look at, as a clear picture that his stats are his stats. Like, that's true game stats when he needs to be there.
That last touchdown drive, I'm just looking at the actual plays. It's literally all Derrick and Lamar until the touchdown to Mark. Like, there was 2 like random Derrick Henry checkdowns, and he makes as much as he could out of them. But like, it's literally all Derrick and Lamar there, just flexing their muscles and dominating towards the end of the game. It's just ridiculous.
It's
Two Hall of
funny.
Famers in our backfield, dude.
Yeah.
2 Hall of Famers. That's just we gotta appreciate this, boys. Seriously.
It's funny that everyone always talks about how Derrick Henry can't catch. I mean, he had what?
I think he just had 2 catches, right?
But
I think
it's like
still
he-
that drive.
It looks clean. It looks clean. You know what I mean? And when Justice Hill got hurt against the Steelers, he came in, had a nice catch, made a couple jukes. Like, it looks fine and normal to me. So I don't know. I just thought that when he had those 2 catches in a row on that drive. But let's see. Do you guys want to talk a little bit more about the game right now, or do you want to get into MVP talk?
I have one more thing I want to drop about the Texans, just because I don't really
Okay.
understand what happened.
Yeah.
Beginning of the game, I was noticing Nico Collins' name being dropped a lot, and then by the end of it, it was non-existent. I think by the beginning of it, Mixon got a few honestly good carries, and then also went non-existent. So I don't know if it's like, I forgot who their offensive coordinator's name, but like, yeah, I just don't understand the game plan whenever they had the chance to have the ball. Joe Mixon, remember we were talking about it in the preview, Mixon with like 25 carries and 47 yards against the Lions. Like, they keep pounding it no matter what. And in this game, 8 carries, they just went away from him. They completely melted down in front of the Ravens on Christmas Day. I mean, they are quite a mess right now, and I'm just happy the Ravens really took care of business.
They're pretty lucky that they're in the AFC South too, because the fact that they already have their division clinched after this game and they don't have to really fight for more than the 4th seed, obviously, that they're going to get, they're pretty lucky.
Their passing offense, like, everything looked off today. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a play in the first quarter maybe where Stroud was under a little bit of pressure and Schultz was wide open in the flat.
Yep.
Like, maybe would have had like a 30, 40-yard gain.
Yeah.
I mean, I get you're under pressure, but he couldn't hit that. There's a couple throws he missed. He had missed like Nico Collins on a flag route about 20 yards down the field. It was kind of weird. And I feel like I think Stroud was still playing very well, like similar to his rookie year in like September. And I think he's kind of like, there's been somewhat of a fall off since then. I don't know. He's one of my favorite non-Ravens, I would say. So, I mean, it's tough. I'm not really sure what's going on with them, but something was not right. It wasn't. I will say, like, it wasn't all the Ravens tonight. Like, something's not right, and they did lose their number 2 and number 3 receivers. But overall, I mean, Ravens pass rush looked great. Once again, Marlon Humphrey played amazing. I mean, the Ravens defense does not have a weakness right now. The Ravens offense does not have a weakness. I really think the only thing on this team that I'm concerned about is the punt returner. They just can't seem to find one right now. But I don't know. And then like, you have our undrafted free agent, Ardace Washington, making plays. Shout out to Ricky Adams, who watched the Polar Express today, I think. So shout out Ricky.
Go Ricky. Here's
yeah. I mean, Steven Sims with a 5,000 IQ play on his first return, pretending to catch the ball, gets hit, and then I think he let one go. Ravens got pinned deep and led to the safety. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Townsend was kind of having his way with the special teams tonight, which was not fun to see. And I would probably agree with Brad. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't sit here and point out a weakness that's like very like obvious and glaring for this team right now. I think it's legitimately the kick return duties, more specifically punt return, because the defense right now is playing like a top 5 unit. The offensive unit's obviously top 5. Everything's clicking all at once, and they're kind of peaking right at the right time, right before the playoffs, late season, everything. This is kind of when you want it to click, right before the playoffs rather than, too much before or not even into the playoffs. So I think it's a very overall dominant win, man. And I don't, there's not really much to talk about. Like, you talked about the concern with the Texans, and, on their part, I will say it's kind of worrisome seeing the decline, I guess you could say, in CJ Stroud's play, but at the same time, they've had a lot of turmoil on their team this year. They've had a lot of players get injured. They've had a lot of inconsistency happening over there. So it's kind of hard to keep that mojo going and kind of find a rhythm when stuff's just happening all around you all the time. So it sucks for them, but at the end of the day, they still win the playoffs. They still won their division, and I still think C.J. Stroud's going to be a really, really good quarterback in the NFL, and I think the Texans are going to be a dangerous team for a long time. So I wouldn't, as far as them, like on their part, I wouldn't look too much into it and be worried.
Yeah, and like we have some comments in here about like Brandon Stevens and being weak over the middle. I do think the Ravens were weak over the middle with Simpson playing, but I think with Board and even Harrison at times in there, it's much better than Simpson just being I'm going to keep calling him a rookie because he didn't play last year. Rookie inside linebacker, really tough, and I think Board has done an exceptional job filling in and just always being in the right spot. You see the national media even sort of recognizing the Kyle Hamilton move now. Going back deep to deep safety. And just like, I don't know about you guys, this is such a simple way to state it, but when they show the starting lineups at like the bottom of the screen, like at the beginning of the games, and they show Ravens secondary, and I know Stevens gets hate, but like I see Stevens, Humphrey, Wiggins, and then like Washington, Hamilton. I'm like, that is a heck of a secondary. Just like looking at that, and I'm like, this defense does not have a weakness anymore. So
yeah, I don't know, man. Brandon Stevens still irritates me more than anything in the world. He's a liability. And across the middle of the field, man, outside the numbers, like it seems like anytime, I don't even want to say it seems like, I feel like literally every single time an offense finds any sort of mojo against us, it's always Brandon Stevens on the opposite end. So if you see like a wide receiver get 3 catches in a row over the middle or outside the numbers, it's always against Brandon Stevens, man. I feel like you never see anybody else just getting torched on such a consistent basis. So I still have faith because what he showed last year, bro, he was such a good player last year. He literally turned into like a top 20, top 15 corner. Like he was locked down. And this year he's just completely fell off and has not found his footing since. So I still have hope that this guy is going to turn it around and be what he was last year. But I mean, throughout the season, man, I can't remember one game where I genuinely was like, all right, Brandon Stevens played a really good game. He didn't get picked on, because I feel like every single matchup he's just getting targeted so much.
yeah, and when you think about like our confidence level at the bye after that Eagles loss compared to now, in terms of not the defense, but like what this team can do this season. I mean, I don't know if I'd say night and day, because I mean, let's all admit, like Ravens needed that bye. Like the Eagles game was rough, but I don't think we were like, oh, the Ravens can't win the Super Bowl or anything now. But
it was pretty rough after the Eagles lost, man. I think the whole Ravens flock was kind of just like, this team's good. We're probably going to make the playoffs, but I don't think like a Super Bowl is like realistically in our eyesight. But like now, like after even like the national media, and we don't care, what they say. I don't care what the national media says. It's just interesting to see, how they switch their mind every single week. And now it's like the national media is like, oh, Lamar Jackson's MVP. Oh yeah, the Ravens are like winning the Super Bowl. Like now it's like night and day different. Like now it's all these people are like, they were writing off the Ravens before, but now they're putting them in. They're putting them right there on the bulletin board. Like, hey, they're here. They're top 3. They're winning the Super Bowl. Jackson's MVP3. Like, it's crazy how they switch up so fast. And after realistically one game, I mean, last week after the Steelers game, they kind of got noticed, but I feel like after this win, dude, like it's really heavy. Like people are really, really changing up very quickly.
And think about like the progression, right? Like since that bye that you guys are talking about, if we're sitting there really unconfident because of Tucker, because of turnovers, because of penalties, because of the defense not really getting going, it's all starting to really come to fruition. The total progression from that moment to now, knock on wood, we are playing our best football right now. We really are. 3 penalties this week. I forgot how much last week, 2 or 3, right? Wasn't it some small? It was a short amount. And no turnovers. Dominant on offense. Derrick Henry's still got his groove right now. See, look, Ricky's in on it. I don't remember which touchdown it was, but whatever happened and Tucker kicked, I didn't even watch the kick. That's how confident we are. I remember we talked about it. Whatever, it was like, oh, we don't need to watch it. I can go to the bathroom real quick while Tucker kicks it. It's in no matter what. It's kind of back. I mean, at least I felt that way. And it really shows you that this team is about as primed to go on a playoff run as we've ever seen because of how dominant this offense is and how well, special teams and defense are executing right now.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that, Zach. You said that pretty perfectly.
And I feel like, and besides punt returner, the one like weakness of this team is sort of getting in their own way when things don't go their way in the first or second quarter. And I don't know if I'd say that they're over that, but like tonight's another example. Like you're up 10-0, the safety happens, Texans are driving down the field and like you get that stop. And then Ravens go 99 yards. I don't know if that was mentioned enough that the Ravens just went 99 yards after a 4th and goal stop. I mean, that's from the Ardarius force on Russell Wilson to the Ardarius tackle with Trey White on Mixon, and then a 99-yard touchdown drive. I think it was a 96-yard touchdown drive after the Wilson fumble. I mean, talk about two changes of momentum. I mean, that's 2 14-point swings in back-to-back games when the Ravens' backs were kind of against the wall, and we've seen them not respond in situations like that before. And I don't know, the bye just gave them so much confidence going forward.
It's been very interesting to see, and not see, I should say, but really think back on how this Ravens season has like gone since like week 1. So obviously we come out week 1 and week 2 and we lose. We lose to Kansas City off, a little toe tap thing you want to call. And then we lose to the Raiders week 2, which was really rough for Ravens flock. We started off the season 0-2 and people were really kind of pinning the posters up high, a little unsure of where the season was going to go. And then, we went 0-2, and now we've gone 11-3 since that 0-2 start. So the Ravens have obviously completely shifted their season around, and now they're literally on the verge of punching their ticket, winning the AFC North. When, like you said, a few weeks ago, after we lost the Eagles, man, I was a little unsure if this Ravens team could do it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't lose hope. I didn't lose faith, but I was definitely unsure if this team has what it takes to go to the Super Bowl right now. We are in the midst of a Deontay Johnson situation, which I didn't more so care about the player. It was more so of what's going on within the locker room that's not being said. That situation's gone. We are obviously dealing with Justin Tucker's situation. That so far looks like it's being trended in the right direction. So that has been cleaned up. In recent weeks, the penalties have gone down drastically. They've played a lot cleaner football, a lot more disciplined. And the defense, obviously, we've been talking about this for like a month now. The defense is incredible now. So it's like you take all of that together, and if we're realistically sitting here right now talking about a punt returner being the issue with this team, I mean, think about that. We're talking about a punt returner right now as our issue of if this team can win it all. I would say this team has everything they need up against anyone in the league right now. And I know we lost to Kansas City. Buffalo's really good. Dude, I'm telling you right now, this Ravens team could beat anyone in the league. And like Brad said, as long as they don't stand in front of themselves, I have no worries going against anybody in the NFL. This Ravens team right now is playing some of the best football they've played all season, probably the best, obviously, and they are peaking at the perfect time. Like Ravens flock, we got to be very excited with what's in front of us. The opportunities in front of us, man, are incredible, and this could be it, dude. This could be it.
And just like the turnaround of the Steelers being 10-3, and the Ravens being 8-5. Seriously? Now the Ravens are 11-5, and the Steelers are 10-6. I mean, I don't know. I saw like a tweet from Albert Breer, just like it's crazy that the Ravens were able to do this in an 11-day stretch. Let's see, I guess the Ravens and the Chiefs both went 3-0 in the stretch. Steelers went 0-3. I don't know what the Texans did, 1-2.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. And you see the Chiefs are able to do it. You see the Ravens are able to do it. I don't know. I think in the AFC, you're looking at Chiefs, Bills, Ravens right now as the three teams that could win it all or at least get to the Super Bowl.
Let's not completely, drag the Texans through the mud. I want to point out that the Texans, right after we beat the Bills, they beat the Bills without Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive win to have that early on, and sure, they're a different team now. They're banged up.
Yeah.
But they have someone like Joe Mixon. But, like, this is still an incredible win. It's a team that almost got the Chiefs last week. They were in a great game. Just, 4 days before. It's just we tend to have their number to the nth degree. I mean, this is ridiculous. But I totally agree with you guys. The improvement is just eye-opening.
They had the
I
number one.
love that.
They had the number one defense in DVOA. That's all I wanted to say. Like, that's insane. Ravens just
That's
easily.
crazy. I love that comment, Brad, that you just threw up by Gerardo. These 3 wins, man, I can only imagine. Like, the vibes in the locker room right now, man, have to be at, like, an all-time high. Like, this team has to feel so good with what they've done in the last 3 weeks coming off a bye, kind of mentally and physically refreshed and just, hey, it's the start of a new season. We're making our playoff run now, and it does not end until we decide it ends. So I couldn't ask for a better situation right now for this team, just as far as, like, the vibes in the locker. I'm trying to look for a different word, but you know what I mean. Like, the vibes in the locker room, the atmosphere, man, is just everything you need for a championship caliber team. And I would say all the problems have been steered away, which is great. And it's just, I mean, man, this has got to feel great for this team. And the fact that next week you go against a division opponent at home, who you lost to earlier in the season, which you shouldn't have lost to. Now you get to punch them in the mouth, get revenge, and punch your ticket to a home playoff game, man. And it's probably going to be it's going to be a rematch of a team you've already played. So this is exciting, man. Like, this is going to be a very exciting next few weeks. And I'm super thrilled to see, like, what happens, because obviously right now we don't know what's going to happen. The Ravens, there's still a chance could go on the road. It's not likely, but I'm just saying, like, there's still some weird possibilities here, and you never know with the NFL, dude. It's any given week. So we just got to be ready for whatever's thrown at us. I say we as in the team, of course. And I think they will. I think they'll step up to the plate when the plate's presented to them. And I think that, I don't want to talk about, like, last year was we were the 1 seed, but I legitimately believe this team might be better than last year by pretty decently large margin, to be honest with you.
And, like, you look at now with the possibility of Lamar winning his 3rd MVP in 4 full seasons. He's played 4 full seasons.
Wild.
And, like, I know Harbaugh gets hate from Ravens flock a decent amount, but I would just want to say every year that Lamar's been healthy, the Ravens have gone on a run in, like, November and December every single year. 2018, 4-5 to 10-6. 2019, 2-2 to 14-2. 2020, I believe they were 6-5 and they finished 11-5. 2021, 2022, Lamar injured both years. Last year, I don't know what they were at one point, but they went on a crazy run.
And this year
finished
too?
What, 13-4 last year, and then this year
we were
after
14.
the bye.
We were 14-3 last year.
Yeah, so it's like every year when Lamar's healthy, the Ravens are unbeatable in December.
I know. I don't really want to talk about it because I'm kind of, like, guilty of it, but, like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, mid-season we were all calling for Harbaugh's head and stuff, and we're sick of it. We're over it. We need change, but I don't know, man. It's kind of hard for me right now to logically say, like, moving on from Harbaugh is a good choice. Like, obviously I don't want him fired, but, like, it's hard to think about, like, what would be better than the guy we have. I mean, seriously, this team every year just, like, it makes stuff happen. Like, I know we're playoffs, obviously it's a different story, but, like, in the regular season, man, like, this team is so good every year. It needs to translate to the playoffs 100%, obviously, and I hope this is a year that it all changes. And then, of course, if it doesn't, we'll be calling for his head again. But like you said, Brad, like, when it's needed the most, man, this team steps up to the plate, and it's like we don't just beat, like, bad teams. Like, this team every season beats really good teams in their home stadium late in the season. Like, last year, San Francisco, dude, we went over the country last year on Christmas night to San Fran in a game that we were not expected to even win. And we, like, blew the doors off them. Once again, we did it this year against a little lesser of an opponent, of course. But the same situation, like, we go over there, we just handle business, dude, and make it happen. And that's, like, what good teams do, obviously. So, you can sit here and, which we're going to get to it, you can sit here and tote Josh Allen's MVP campaign all you want is, oh, he beat the 1 seed and all that. Overall, their strength of schedule is nowhere near Baltimore's. And if you really want to chalk up big-time wins this season between the Ravens and the Bills or Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, dude, I can't sit here and logically say that Josh Allen and the Bills have a bigger edge in that one, because the Ravens have had a lot of big time wins this season in really tough environments, and that can't go unnoticed.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about the MVP for a little bit. I think we're done with the game. I don't even really know what to say. I in my head, when Lamar's at like the 20-yard line on his touchdown run, I was like, he's winning the MVP. That's like sort of how I felt about it. And you're still seeing people on Twitter like, oh, it's MVP is a thought now. I'm like, what? Like, and also I will say, and this does help Lamar, the Bills have 2 games left. Neither of them matter. So,
I mean, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens were international tonight. I mean, they were literally worldwide on center stage in front of everybody. So this was your chance to go out there and put up a game and kind of just dominate. And that's obviously what they did. So it's like, if there's any games that really matter to MVP voters and all the criteria that goes into the, getting the award, that, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens did everything they would need to solidify that. And I guess you can say further punch his ticket into the conversation, if that's what people are actually saying, because I don't understand how he wouldn't even be there already. But we saw Josh Allen was like a minus 1,000, like 1,000 odds last week to win the award, which is absolutely insane, So, and now it's almost neck and neck, and you're seeing guys like Dan, and I love him, Dan Orlovsky, RG3, not so much him, Manu Acho, however you say his name, I apologize. And there was one more. All these guys that come out and say like, "Oh, this race is over," and after tonight, they're all going doing the exact same thing on Twitter and all their socials, and they're saying, "You know what? Maybe this race isn't over. Maybe we should have had more conversations with Lamar Jackson. Maybe we should have waited till the season's actually over and not 4 games remaining." And it's kind of funny because it's almost like you made them eat their words, and now they're all here apologizing and looking kind of goofy, honestly. And now, obviously, you can see this race is a lot closer than it was a week. I mean, literally a week ago. I mean, this morning before Lamar Jackson even played football, Josh Allen had minus 550 favorite to win MVP, and now it's not that big of a gap in between.
Yeah, since the odds have changed that much in Lamar and Josh's favors. I mean, it's created like the conversation where people can talk about it, and it's funny. I keep seeing the Aaron Rodgers stats where his like 3 MVPs are like 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And it's like, oh, that looks just like Lamar Jackson. Oh, weird. And I don't know. I think whenever people can compare it to like last year, I think that's another big part of the discussion is these numbers and everything. And even Noah Eagle during the broadcast was like, oh, if we want to talk about numbers, then Joe Burrow should be involved. And I'm like, all right. I mean, there's so many different angles to take to the race. But yeah, I don't think there's enough real critical thinking to it. We're sitting here, us three are breaking it down. We're breaking it down. If voters, I hope, have the capacity in their brain to do this, I would assume you would have to think it's Lamar. You just can't do that. 121 passer rating. Perfect comment here, KP. What? I think Brad said it. Second all time if he finishes the year with this. Are you stupid to not vote him? Maybe. You might be. I mean, it's those touchdowns rushing wise for Josh. It's like if Jalen Hurts was playing a great year almost.
Yeah.
It's like I have respect for the Eagles and dominating in that way. I have respect for Josh Allen. But do we not think I don't know. That might be a little. I was about to say, could any quarterback really, if they got up to the 1, just get the sneak every time? Like, is that like it has to be those guys? That's what makes them valuable? I don't know.
I want to say like what the like you have Allen, and like the argument for Allen is like people say, oh, we didn't expect the Bills to be this good, and he's throwing to like Khalil Shakir. First of all, that's like an insult to like a great receiver. Like they have Amari Cooper and like James Cook. Like James Cook is scoring 50-yard touchdowns. And like
Yeah.
I'm not saying like obviously the Ravens have a better supporting cast than the Bills on offense, but like this is the simplest way to put it. Lamar is having a prime Aaron Rodgers season throwing the ball with 800 rushing yards. Like he's having the second best passing season of all time while rushing for what? Maybe like the 10th most yards ever by a quarterback in a season.
Yeah. And he realistically should only have one interception on the season too, if you really want to pin, nitpick. But I just don't get it, man. I really do not understand because these main people, their main arguments for Josh Allen to win MVP is like big time wins, division champion, better record, all that stuff, and that all correlates together, of course. But it's like, okay, Lamar Jackson more than likely and the Ravens are going to win their division. They've punched that. So the Bills also play two bad teams the final weeks, like you said, Brad. So they're not really in the spotlight, and there's nothing really to play for as far as them. Like they can rest their players if they want. So not Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson has a chance to go out here in these games that mean a lot right now because our game on Sunday is to punch the ticket for the division crown. So if you want to talk about big time game, technically this game against Cleveland's a big time game. And they might not be to the magnitude of beating the 1 seed in both respective conferences, but overall they have the same amount of big time wins. I don't know who would say I would probably give the nod to as far as more. But like literally all week, like the last 2 weeks, all I've seen is like, well, Josh Allen's winning his division, Lamar Jackson's not. He has a better record. And it's like, I know we had this discussion last year, and a lot of people say Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year because of the record, not more so the stats. But like you guys said, dude, Lamar Jackson's literally having a top 5 season of all time by a quarterback. Top 5. You can argue top 3, who knows, of all time. And this dude might not win the MVP because a guy who's also very good, of course, but a little bit less in stats has bigger wins, which are a team stat. If anyone knows football, of course, that's not an individual accolade. And I know it's about the value to your team. Like I said, not stats. It's not about the stats. But when a guy is literally having this good of a season, and you look at every other season that is anywhere close in the realm of this, they've all been MVP winning seasons. So it's almost like it'd be crazy if he doesn't win MVP. It would almost be disrespectful to him and like the sport of football.
Isn't it weird that like there's that kind of narrative of like talking about the supporting cast and all? We've experienced the other way around with Lamar. I mean, shoot, everyone like the Seth Roberts wide receiver 1 like all that year. I mean, there's that, and there's also the fact that like, did Aaron Rodgers ever get criticized for having a fantastic supporting cast with Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, any of those guys? I mean, Devontae Adams in his prime. Where's that kind of talk? Like, not to mention the fact that he also has what, like 800 yards rushing. I mean, what the heck? Where's the like? I had one. Who was that one? There was some. I don't honestly know what station it was on, Fox or something, but they compared it to the NBA as in like Nikola Jokic on the Nuggets. He fills up the stat sheet. He is the best player in the league. But the 1 year that people were kind of sick and tired of like, oh, keep giving him the MVP. It's like, they're like, oh, you know what? The other guy deserves a chance. Joel Embiid, he deserves it this year. It's kind of like that. I mean, even that year, Jokic was better, like through in and throughout. The team was better record-wise, everything. So I just can't figure it out. I'm glad that the conversation is being had right now. People are in public saying, oh, Lamar's the front runner and all. It's also a little recency bias. It was an amazing game, and it should have been. It needs to be a little recency bias. But like, I think it really hedges on how Josh plays this week against New York. The Jets are playing good ball right now. If he can go out there and, put up 4 touchdowns, it's probably wraps. But if he goes out there and, only gets 2 touchdowns, maybe a pick in there, it's again going to get nudging a little closer and really matter what happens next the following week. Because if the Bills don't even play and the Ravens do play, it only makes Lamar look better. So even right now, with the odds being as weird as they are, I just couldn't tell you right now who's going to win it 100%.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that this is going to be a thing that we don't find out until they literally make the announcement on
Yeah,
public television.
literally, you're right.
This is not going to be either way a unanimous choice or even remotely close. Out of, I think, 50 people vote for the award. It's literally going to be like a 30-20. I feel like it's going to be like a 30-20 split. I think it's going to be very close, even maybe closer than that. I have no idea. So this will not be a thing where the two prior MVPs where we know he's winning. There's not really a alternative choice that's remotely even accurate. This will be one that we find out literally on TV. So that's going to be a little scary, a little intimidating, and it'll be kind of crazy to see the reactions, of course, all across socials, given if either of them win, who knows? It's just this guy's literally going to have almost 5,000 all-purpose yards with 45 touchdowns overall. Like, this is with a passer rating that's top 5 all time in one single season. It's like, this is just something that we've never seen before. This is something that we will probably not see ever again. If not, it'll probably be a long time before we see something to this magnitude again. It's wild, dude. The fact that, like Brad said, this could potentially be his third MVP in 4 healthy seasons, dude, is just absolutely out of this world. And if you remember correctly, guys, the 2 seasons in 21 and 22 that Lamar went down the halfway point, he was also like a top 3 front runner in each of those seasons, respectively, before he got injured. So it's just like, if he plays football, he's going to be a top 3 front runner for MVP. It's just how he plays. It's how good he is. It's just, it all depends on the guys around him, of course, and in the circle of MVP candidates who, plays the best more consistently or whatever. And of course, this year, Josh Allen has limited the turnovers, which in years prior, that is what ultimately killed his, I guess you could say his polling for MVP, because every year he turned the ball over so much that you can't even consider this guy an MVP. And this year, man, he's playing fantastic football. So it's going to be a scary race right down to the wire.
What's up, Multac? Merry Christmas to you as well. Yeah, and you have the whole thing about them wanting Lamar to work out as a receiver, and then you have Ravens fans saying they should have paid Tyler Huntley instead of Lamar Jackson.
That's
Oh
wild.
my gosh.
And saying Lamar was a waste of money.
Crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Definitely feeling, I'd say, the most confident I have felt all year in the Ravens. Probably same to you guys, but I think that's all we had, unless you guys have anything else. Yeah, Ravens go on and defeat the Texans 31-2. Still can't believe that's not a scoregami, but yeah, Merry Christmas to all you guys. Hope you had a good holiday once again. If you're on Instagram or watched on Instagram at all, head over to YouTube, Charm City Sideline, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. If you'd rather listen to us on Spotify, you can click the link in our YouTube channel or the descriptions of our videos. Rate us 5 stars. And if you're new here on YouTube, feel free to subscribe. We do post-game reactions, we do Q&A mailbag episodes, and we do game previews. So try to get 3 episodes out a week. And yeah, I'm Bradley. That's Zach in the middle. That's Dawson on the right. And thanks, guys, so much for watching. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
And
Merry
we
Christmas.
will see you in the next one. Peace.